All right.
So we're doing a hand style EW63 connector because you can't use a flaring toolkit with this shit. You have to do it by hand. You're going to start off cutting like a good distance back. So you really only need here, but I go good distance back because there's nothing wrong with going back further. Your main goal you're trying to do is as straight a line as possible. And I'm really bad at cutting straight lines, but don't mind. We're going to do it. Get started. You can't force too much because you cut too much into the copper. And that will show up on the sweep, which is going to show up on the sweep either way, but you obviously don't want your sweep to fail. Then we're going to cut down. And this part you can be a little bit more aggressive with because you're going to cut almost all of it off. So once you get closer to the end, you can be a lot more forceful. So you're cutting all the way through when you go. You're just going to peel this back. Cut the butter. And get a sharper knife. Got this. A little curve there, but not bad. So then you're going to take your special flathead, because this has a very narrow flathead window. So you need a fucking skinny ass flathead. It really does.
Not for children. Hey, this is for educational purposes only.
So this thing has a double, so it screws out of here, but it also has a flat, a separate piece so it doesn't pop out. So as long as you don't screw it out that far, it will stay. So you slide this guy off here. Kind of see it's a little creepy. Alright, you take your gasket, you loop it up.
Lube it up.
This, for some reason, the cut knots they give you isn't enough to actually hit the package, which is stupid. You have to make your own fucking starting point. It still does a horrible job. Lube the inside and out.
That's what she said.
Is a deep black. Alright. Put this guy back on. Be careful, the edge is sharp, so you don't want to ruin the gasket. Give it a little stretch around.
The gasket have like an edge like that.
Yeah, so the Waveguide is corkscrewed style, so you just get it close enough, and then you could just start twisting it. I just use a fingernail to grab the gasket a little bit, and twist it into your spot. Do I have the wrong gasket? Yep. So now we got the right gasket. So we have this one that has the taper and this one that doesn't. This comes from a different EW63 connector. It's a better one because you can use a flaring tool kit with, but we don't have that. So I'm gonna re-lube this thing back up.
Need more lube?
No, I'm good. We got plenty of lube.
Hey.
Yeah. All the lube you need.
This one is.
Yeah, the piece falls off. You can even actually take the magnets out of it. I accidentally had mine pop apart and the magnets are now stuck to my tools.
Okay, this one go also.
Yeah. So this one doesn't stretch as well, so it's a little bit more of a pain in the ass to get it past the sharp point. So we're gonna do the same thing, like take it just nice and lined up, and then you just walk it around the corkscrew of the copper. You're gonna get basically as far as you can, but you also have to consider this plastic, how unstraight you make it, because if it overlaps, then you're gonna cause issues for yourself. So we're gonna actually bring it forward a little bit. Bring that forward with it. And then we're gonna take that ring that we just took off in our flathead. Put that on here. So I just get it started. Once you see it starting to go in, then I go to the next one. You can cause issue. Try it. You would struggle to get the second one in if you tighten down the first one all the way. It's kind of like doing a car tire, you know. Tighten a little bit each direction. More so at the end than this part.
I've been doing it wrong all my life.
the purpose of this.
I was talking about changing the tires.
Oh, really? Yeah, normally you're supposed to do like a pattern where you jump from far end to far end, and then as you keep putting more in,
Oh no, I just go all the way.
you just go a complete circle.
Yeah.
And that's how Chad does it when he does the connectors. He just does a full circle around it. He just chooses the direction and goes that way. Oh my god, get in the hole.
That's what they or them said.
He, the, them.
That's right here. Ah, it's right here.
Like this. Should be able to get pretty much flush with the back piece of the connector. Yep, as far as go as you're gonna get. Alright, and then you have a cutting guide. So again, the cutting guide that we originally had was the wrong one, which I should have realized it was this wrong connector when I saw that. So, fits just on there. And most people like to put tape on it because it makes it a lot easier. I normally try not to use the tape. Just because I try to be manly about it. I just refuse. Alright. Oh. You're going to cut it right with the guide. Try to make it as flat as possible.
Give me a walk.
Nice straight line is what you're going for. There's also a little bit of issue with a plastic guide instead of a metal one that comes with the other style connector kit.
Special tool right now.
They had a special tool. A baby toothbrush or any toothbrush.
I'm gonna just clean the inside out. You don't want shit inside. We'll do this a couple times throughout the process. And I clear off the outside so that way that doesn't get on the inside like it just did. You're trying to make the inside pretty clean. You see anything in there?
Looks
Pretty
great
good
for now. Right. So now you're going to take your file. The main reason for the file, right, is one, you get rid of the burrs, but two, the smoother it is, the less likely it is to split on you when you bend it outward. So, because when you bend it out, you don't have to worry about the sharp edges anymore. So it's not really a concern when you're done. Alright, take the toothbrush again. You really don't have to do it until the end though. Alright, then you're going to take your little hammer and either a little piece of wood. I also take the end of a broken file works too, but not as well. And so I start out with these corners where the left and right end meets with the top and bottom. It's normally where I start with. Just give it a little tap, make sure you got an angle to it. Because you don't want it to collapse inward, you want it to bend out. And this is a nice tedious process. I do a center. And then this is the hard bend. Gotta be a little bit more aggressive on the hard bend. I don't think I've ever talked myself through the thing as much as this. Get those corners again. Little walk around.
Yeah, since I took the file to it, there is no cracks in the copper at all on the side. And you're gonna just finalize it with a little hammer. You should hear the difference between like a thud and a hollow sound. Kind of like when you're tapping for a, what do you call it? When you're doing a wall, you know, you're trying to find the
Stud.
stud. Yeah, there we go. Should feel a little different sound. Once you're satisfied with how flat that is, then you can put the other piece on. So the instructions show that you, first let me lube this.
Yeah.
Let me take a picture.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. They require a photo for this. So you lube up this gasket. And the way the instructions show it is you put it on here with the hardware. This hardware. So you put all 4 hardware in.
Quattro.
It's actually a very effective way of how the instructions tell you to do this. Instead of fighting with the gasket. And then you take the gasket, you put it over all of them. It wants to cooperate. That way, when you take the other piece of the plate, you're not struggling with that. Take your 4mm ball driver. You just choose up one of the bolts.
4 millimeters.
Get it started. Do the same thing just for the other corner. I get all 4 started first. Go around in a circle, or you can do the opposite still. I like to stick with the opposites. Can you get me the torch?
Yeah, I saw it in the trailer.
So this piece right here will actually not be touching. I've never had that touch. I don't know if you can, but it should just be a very tiny gap between it, but it should be even pretty much all the way across. My gap on the bottom is a little bit bigger than my top. And that's why you would break out an Allen key instead of a ball driver. You get more torque. But it should be acceptable. All right, then you got this giant heat shrink. I've tried to find it when we've done these wrong. They are impossible to find. I went to a Granger and it did not shrink properly and it did not hold. Alright, so this is a piece of shit torch. I hate this thing. I'm gonna start somewhere. I'd start on the outside normally, left and right. It's gonna try to shrink on you or collapse on itself. Very long and tedious process sometimes.
assistance here. Shoulder.
And yeah, it actually shrink all the way down that side on both sides. And you just throw some tape on it to make it so it doesn't take on water, and you're good until it runs up the tower.
All right, guys. And again, this is the installation of.
EW63 waveguide connector.
All right, this is Top Hand Tommy giving you the
This is the model number of the connector.
EW63 microwave connector.